Julie's just nicked a piece.
Oh my god, lovely.
I just saw your hand going. Buongiorno, it is Sunday and we've had a dreadful summer here in England, but today at the very least it's not raining, so I decided to take advantage and do something on the barbecue. I have deboned a chicken, something I've done a few times this summer, but today I'll be cooking it on the barbecue. Last time I did it was in the oven and I was trying to roll it, but I wasn't successful and I ended up folding it. Today I've got a slightly different idea and I will try and see if I can roll it, but I've already deboned one, and if you would like to see how to debone a chicken, click up here and there is a video I did a few weeks ago that shows you how to debone your own chicken. At the moment I am making a marinade, so I've actually chopped some fresh parsley just picked from our own garden. I'm now looking for a couple of cloves of garlic, see what I've got left here before I need to get some more. Yeah, I think I can make most probably here, there's 3 little ones. I have removed the skin from the garlic and using a garlic crusher I'm going to be crushing them in and adding them to the parsley. If you do not have a garlic crusher, just chop it very finely with your knife. I've got a few green pitted olives here, which I will remove from the oil. Not a lot, just, well, there, 6, that'll be fine. Actually, there is another one here, 7. And using the knife, I will be chopping them as small as I can. This is dry breadcrumbs. I will be adding a couple of spoons, generous spoons to my mix, maybe 3 actually. This is pepper. I'm going to be quite generous with pepper because I think it will give this marinade a nice little kick. And a little salt as well, followed by some olive oil. Get hold of a spoon and mix everything together. And this is just perfect, I'll show you. Besides smelling absolutely wonderful, it's not dry, but also it's not too wet, and that is exactly what I'm after. And here is my deboned chicken. This is a medium-sized chicken. My son recently moved out, so we are buying smaller portions now. And I have actually removed the skin as well, and I did that before I deboned it. And also I have separated the legs from the rest of the body. And if you look, here is one of the legs, and here is the other one, totally deboned, and this is the rest of the chicken. Last time I failed to roll it because it was too thick, so today I've decided to try and chop it in half. So I'm going in with a very sharp knife, and I just sharpened it actually, and very carefully I'll start cutting it to see if I can actually split it in half. Yeah, and I think it's kind of working. Be patient, obviously be very careful if you decide to do this, but just take your time and carefully go through it. And there it is. I've cut it in half. I've got some chicken here and some chicken here. I'm not doing the same with the rest of the chicken, so this is one of the legs. I'm cutting it in half so that I can open it. Let's have a look. Yep, that's good. I'm happy with that. These are bits of chicken, and these are the wings. I've decided that I'm not going to be even attempting to debone them. The chicken was too small, but I will cook them as well alongside everything else. You might be wondering why I haven't purchased some chicken slices and rolled them, which would have been most probably just as easy. That's because I think sometimes the easy way is not always the best way and not the most economical. I've paid £3.40 for this chicken, and I will be getting a very good meal from it today. Most probably there'll be some leftover for tomorrow, but also we'll be cooking the carcass and I'm gonna get something delicious tomorrow. So definitely much better value for money. New bowl, add some olive oil. I'll put my chicken inside and I'll start mixing it so that every piece of chicken gets covered by some oil. Back to my marinade, I'll pick up the chicken, which is all covered in oil, and add to the marinade, and I'll start mixing everything together now. The moisture from the olive oil will make sure that the marinade and the breadcrumbs get attached to the chicken, and I have to say, even if it's raw, it smells really nice. I've now placed a piece of baking paper on my worktop. I'm trying to be as neat as possible by giving a shape of some kind, so that I end up with a nice roll by the time I roll it at the end. And of course, any marinade left over, I'm going to be adding it on top of my chicken. That is really good, I'm very pleased with it, and I'm now pressing it quite firmly with my hands so that it's nice and compact. And I'm now starting to fill the chicken, and I'm using what I've got in the fridge, but I will start with some Parmesan cheese at the very top. I'll sprinkle some, not a lot, I don't want any ingredient to be overpowering, but Parmesan cheese will go very well, especially because there is parsley and garlic in there. And I am pretty much using what I've got in the fridge. Actually, this is good. I've got a last couple of slices left, and I decided to put it in because it's nice and flexible and it will fold very nicely. But you can also use cheese such as cheddar or mozzarella, entirely up to you, or no cheese at all. I was thinking to defrost some bacon and add to it, but then I remembered that I've got some Parma ham in the fridge, so I decided to use Parma ham instead. But by all means, use bacon or use pancetta if you like, that will be perfectly good. And I've got 2 sausages here. I've got to be honest, this is one of the reasons why I'm doing this dish. I saw these sausages in the supermarket and they are stuffed with fennel and chili, and I decided that I would put them in the middle if they fit, and that is one of the reasons why I'm doing this dish. And Julie has instructed me to make use of a vegetable from her gardens. So this is some kale, which she has very kindly picked this morning, and I'm now using a few leaves randomly on top of my ingredients just to finish it off. And I think actually it will give a nice contrast, but also a beautiful color to the finished roll. I've already added some salt and pepper in the marinade. I'm not going to add any more salt as there are sausages and the Parma ham as well, but a little bit more pepper I think will be good. And as I mentioned before, I'm going to be making use of the paper to help me, and let's see how it goes. Okay, so far so good. I am getting hold of the sausages and pulling them towards me so that the whole thing stays together. I'm now lifting the paper and rolling it a little bit more. In short, by the way, that you do not go too close to the edges with any of your ingredients, otherwise they will be overflowing. But I think it's working quite well. Remember to remove the paper, and now that I've got a good grip, I can drop the paper and continue without the paper, trying to retain the shape. I've now reached the end more or less, and it's looking very good. I'll continue rolling it. Here's my board again. I'll lift it, and there it is. If like me you end up with a situation where the roll is on top of the paper, just split the paper in half and it will come off very easily. The next part is one of the things I enjoy most about these recipes. I have got some cooking wire and I've placed it underneath the joint, and I'm gonna leave a little piece, maybe 10 centimeters at the end here, and I'll come back and I'll do a nice tight knot at the end. I'll attempt and do this without lifting the joint, so I'll place a finger here, I'll go underneath the joint, and then I'll start rolling the wire, and every time I go on top I will go underneath without lifting the joint, otherwise all of the meat will come apart, and I'll move on by a couple of centimeters. And every time I go over I will do the next round a little bit tighter so that the meat start coming together. Just place your finger at the end and go underneath, and then you let it go. And as you go back again, pull the wire so that the joint get nice and tight, and go in between the other two pieces so that you get a nice tight joint. The tighter you can make it, the better, but don't go mad, otherwise you might break it. Remember to find the little cable, as we're going to need it in a second. And I'm near the end now, so I'm going to be cutting the wire. I'm putting it underneath the last couple of rounds there, like this. Then I'm gonna find the little cable, and there is a sausage here, so I'll see if I can use the sausage to lean on it. There. And the best you can, just do a knot. Don't overdo it, obviously, but enough to hold it together. And just cut any excess wire. And there it is, it's done. Not as professional as a butcher most probably, but it doesn't matter. It will taste wonderful, I'm sure. And my joint is nearly ready for the barbecue. Baking tin, I'll place the joint inside it. This is a fresh sprig of rosemary, which I've just this minute picked from the garden. I'll place it underneath it. My chicken wings, which I didn't use, they can go in as well. And I will want to use the juice from this joint, because I've got in mind if I can to make a little gravy. So I'm adding now half a glass of white wine, but also you can add water if you like, followed by one very last drizzle of olive oil on top of my joint before it goes on the barbie. And it's ready to go on the barbecue. My barbecue has got a lid, it's a gas barbecue, and I will be acting as an oven effectively. So I'll be going in for approximately an hour, maybe an hour and a quarter, temperature 180 degrees. If you do not have a barbecue that does that, of course you can use your normal oven at home. Again, it's a fan assisted oven, you can have it at 180 degrees, or if it's a normal conventional oven, up the temperature by 20 degrees to 200, same time, an hour to an hour and a quarter. But I'll show you what it's like in between. So see you in a little while. I'm back. I wasn't thinking to video this part of the film really, because I'm doing the vegetables, but having had a chat with Julie, we thought why not? You might just as well see the whole meal. So I'll show you what I'm going to be doing as vegetables to go with the chicken. I've peeled 4 potatoes, and I will be slicing them into little chunks. Today I fancy doing them diagonally, mostly to marry with the carrots I'll be doing in a minute, so that everything cooks at the same time. Also, I will be putting this in the oven with the chicken, so I want to make sure that everything is cooked within an hour. I mentioned carrot. I'm now peeling the second one. I have got a nice little peeler here, which makes them look very elegant. As you can see, they've got nice ridges. And like I did with the potatoes, you can see I'm cutting them to a very similar thickness diagonally. And I always think that carrots and potatoes have got similar consistency, so they should cook at the same time. This is garlic again. I will be using maybe a good couple of cloves here. And all I do, I just crush them, I leave the skin on, and add them to the rest. Onion, I'm using a red onion today, and I'll chop it in half, and I'm gonna cut this actually in big chunks because it's gonna be there for a good hour, so I don't want it to disappear. And lastly, I've got a red pepper, actually red, orange, or whatever. I'll chop in half first, and then go inside and make sure that you remove all of the white stuff, because that can be really bitter. And of course the seeds, unless you like them. And likewise, I'm going to leave my pepper in fairly large chunks so that it doesn't disappear. This is rosemary, which I already chopped very finely before I decided to start filming the vegetables, and I'll sprinkle it on top. I will add a generous amount of olive oil so that everything is covered. I'm now sprinkling some red wine vinegar, not a lot. We like it in our vegetables, but that is very much optional, of course. This is pepper. I'm adding a good amount of pepper. I will not be putting any salt yet. I'll leave that to the end, as I do with most of my recipes. I'll salt the vegetables at the end. And before we go out on the barbecue, a little mix with my hands, but obviously use whatever you like, so that every piece of vegetables is covered by something. And try and find the garlic cloves, by the way, and distribute them so that they are equally spread. Where is the other one? Here. So one is here and one is here, so that the flavour reaches most of the vegetables.
So it smells lovely already.
It does, yes. And let's go and start the barbecue. We're outside again. The weather has improved slightly, but it's a bit breezy. Hopefully it's still dry, but regardless, I'm cracking on with the barbecue. So let me show you first. Temperature there, if Julie can zoom in, please. Just below 200, approximately 180. I've got 3 burners in my barbecue, and at the moment they've all been on, but I'm going to be turning the middle one off, and I'll turn the other 2 on medium. And what this will do, it will ensure that the middle burner being off, it will not have any heat, and then we'll be cooking indirectly, and the heat will come from, oops, I need to burn myself. The heat will come from the burners on the edges of the barbecue. So quite simply, I'll place my meat in here, and I will also put my vegetables on the other side.
In the middle.
In the middle, yes, as much as possible. And I'll close it, and it will cook for, as I said, an hour, maybe an hour and 15. I'll check it in a little while. But halfway through, I will go along and turn the meat over so that it cooks with a uniform color throughout. And also I want to make sure that the juices do not disappear, because I want to make a little creamy gravy at the end. So I'll see you in about an hour and a quarter anyway. Bye. Half an hour in, decided to show you what it looks like anyway. I was about to turn the vegetables and decided to video it. So they look very nice. Can you hear the crackling? And here is the meat. I will go underneath with a couple of large forks. Looks like I'm not going to have any gravy. I might add a little water in a moment. I'll turn it around. I'll do the same with the chicken wings while I'm at it.
That's our snackette for in a bit, is it?
in a bit, yes. And I'll put some water. I might not be successful, who knows, but I'll try anyway. 30 more minutes. Okay, it's been an hour and 10 minutes. I have actually given up about the gravy because it did evaporate again, but at the very least it kept my meat nice and moist. I've turned it on the top so that I get some nice colouring, and just for 5 minutes. And I'm now going to remove it from the barbecue, and I'll leave it here to rest for a good 10 minutes before I remove the string, and then I will carve it. I will also turn the barbecue off, and I'll leave the vegetables inside to keep them nice and warm. I'll see you in 10 minutes. In time to carve it, I have let it rest for 10 minutes. As I said, I also removed the string, and as it is actually rested, it's safe to touch with my hand now, so it's going to be easier for me to cut it as well, because I can apply some pressure. And I'm going to be using a bread knife for this job. I think it's going to be much easier.
Wow.
Oops, there's a piece of string there. Julie's just nicked a piece.
Oh my god, it's lovely.
I just saw your hand going. And I actually can see that as I'm cutting through it, oops, there is a string left over. I haven't done a very good job there, have I?
As long as we don't eat it.
No, absolutely. I can see that as I go through with the knife, it's actually lovely and moist. So great idea to keep some juice so that it doesn't dry up. Ready? We're about to eat, but I'll just test a little for the benefit of the video. I will have a piece of chicken here, and I fancy a piece of carrot as well, and then we can eat. You might wonder where the wings have gone. Where did the wings go to?
We had a little snackette earlier.
You would be right. That's divine, honestly. Really, really good. The best tip I can give you is two, really. One, make it. The second one is let it rest for 10 minutes. Much easier to cut and much easier to taste because it's not boiling hot. Ciao, ciao. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy. See you later. Bye.